Senator's campaign from the very start. As in, literally, I started working with a consulting firm like 2 Decembers ago, and then a week later, Jerry McNerney hopped back into politics. So, been working with him since the start of the state senate campaign, been working with his policy team, and now I'm happy to be a conduit between Tri-Valley communities and our legislative team in Sacramento. Speaking of which, we also have a strong Tri-Valley perspective on our Sacramento team. Aaron, our Senate fellow. Yeah, he's visiting his hometown of Livermore for the weekend, so we're both Livermore boys. And I told him there's no more fun way to spend a long weekend in Livermore than swinging by the most crowded party in the city right now. In all seriousness though, thank you so much for coming out, especially during the long weekend. It is a major pain, I'm sure, to just make sure that you have time to relax and decompress during these honestly exhausting times, but still make time to be there with this strong community. And I'm gonna say what I said at the Tri-Valley Indivisible meeting. I'm not sure how many of you attended that over in Pleasanton a couple weeks ago, but I always keep in mind when I'm at these events that whenever I look to my left and I look to my right, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
And that's what organizing is all about, right? We're not alone here, and I see just so many familiar faces and so many new faces, so I'm excited to go into the details here. And at any time, if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to dive in. But for starters, I understand that a lot of us are just very apprehensive about what is going on at the state level. How can we make sure that California is as strong as possible, is as united as possible, as compassionate as possible, at a time when unity, compassion just don't seem to be priorities. And of course, I'll speak to just what's going on broadly with the state legislature. I'm sure that some of us have heard about what's been informally referred to as a Trump-proofing legislative package. We had a special session last December, and the signature of that session was the authorization of $50 million in legal funding with regards to 2 things. First of all, making sure that through the State Attorney General, Rob Bonta, that we have a strong line to just hold the federal government accountable, that they're not overstepping their authority, that they're not overstepping what the good work that we are doing right here in the state of California, that we have a good line of defense there. And we're already seeing that in coalition with other state attorneys general, we are able to push back with the infringement on birthright citizenship, and hopefully we're able to hold a firm line as much as possible on many other constitutional norms and provisions that have been eroded just in the past few months. So we're fighting hard on that front. And on the other hand, the state legislature authorized funds for deportation defense, making sure that our immigrant neighbors, our immigrant community members are able to exercise their rights, are able to stand a strong chance, are able to refer to legal aid and get connected with resources throughout our communities. And something that I always keep just on my phone whenever anyone even has any concerns, anxieties, questions about immigration, it's very important for us over in the Tri-Valley that according to the USC California Immigrant Data Portal, as much as 5.6% of the Tri-Valley population is undocumented or at risk of deportation. We're talking about over 13,000, probably more. And these are people who contribute immeasurably to our communities, and we are dedicated to making sure that at least that they're able to connect with legal aid, able to get support from state resources, to make sure that their rights are being respected, and that their places here in our community are valued and not put under terror. Now, speaking to specific legislation, Senator McNerney, as many of you might know, has spent his entire career dedicated to essentially fighting climate change, starting out as a wind turbine engineer, working out in the Altamont Hills. And we've been lucky that He is now chair of the State Senate's Revenue and Taxation Committee. He's also working on the Energy, Utilities, and Communications Committee, the Veterans Committee. He's on a subcommittee for the state budget, especially with an eye towards environmental issues. We're happy to be involved in many other committees throughout our state legislature, but I would say that the three biggest priorities whenever folks ask, we always identify, number one, the existential risks associated with AI. How do we make sure that AI can be developed in our state while still respecting, if not uplifting, the rights of workers, the rights of families, the right to privacy, just the dignity of the human experience. We're working with a variety of stakeholders on very complicated and comprehensive legislation that we'll be rolling out in the next few weeks. So with regards to AI safety, we're working on a lot of proposals with regards to energy access and affordability, and we're working on another major piece of legislation with regards to water safety and making sure that our water resources, especially out in the Tri-Valley, are safe, that we can drink water from the tap without having to worry about long-term health effects. So there's a lot of exciting legislation coming out on that front. So AI safety, number one. Number two, environmental justice. So climate action, clean energy development, water integrity, the whole gamut. And number three, just making sure that our communities from San Joaquin County, which is a huge swath of our district, as well as in the Tri-Valley, that we have strong representation championing just affordability, safety, making sure that we're accessible for our communities. And again, there's the three major proposals about AI safety, energy affordability, and water safety that we're currently in the works, and we'll get more details out in the next few weeks. But there are four major bills out there that we've been putting out already, especially with an eye towards making sure that California remains a leader in climate action, making sure that our fight for environmental justice and environmental safety does not get stopped by any federal actions. Number one is SB 86, and I'm happy to write down any bill numbers actually, if folks want. But yeah, SB 86 would that was one of the first bills that the senator pushed out there. It would currently California is investing billions of dollars in tax incentives to develop and roll out alternative energy and other green technologies, and making sure that there's just proper competition and replacement for fossil fuels. Of course, folks are worried that the Trump administration is just going to try to cut these incentives at the federal level. So we want to make sure that through this bill, the state has the power to fill in any gaps, any cuts to clean energy and green tech development. The state will be in a strong position to fill in the gaps and even expand those incentives, so that way California can still be at the cutting edge. Number two is SB 279. A few years back, the San Joaquin Valley, which has a lot of, especially in the environmental sense, a lot of overlap with the Tri-Valley, there was a ban on agricultural burning. But that means that a lot, we're talking thousands, hundreds of thousands, perhaps even millions of tons of agricultural waste, they can't be burnt anymore, but instead they're being shipped out on truck beds hundreds of miles away just to get composted and disposed of. This bill would empower our farms and our vineyards, bless you, our farms and our vineyards to compost a lot of their waste on site and cut their carbon footprint and improve the health and quality of our soil. Number three is SB 235. We're seeing a lot of pressures right now, a lot of anxieties, especially with regards to all these threats of tariffs and trade wars, a lot of anxiety is about critical minerals. A subset that a lot of us know about is rare earth elements, right? We want to reduce the environmental impact of developing batteries, electric vehicles, solar panels, wind turbines. So SB 235 would set up the structure for a state market to recycle these critical minerals and make sure that we have a domestic supply and an environmental sustainable supply. And finally, SB 31 would expand the use of recycled water, especially for businesses, local governments, and homeowners, which would help our region be more resilient against droughts. And there's also a lot of significant bills that we are co-authoring and we're helping fellow Democrats advance. So, for example, a notable bill is SB 222, which would allow climate disaster victims, as well as insurance companies and the state-administered FAIR plan, to recover damages from fossil fuel industries. And through these suits, they would be able to infuse more funds into stabilizing our insurance market. Because we know that homeowner insurance is just top of everyone's mind right now, especially with wildfire and flood threats at an all-time high, and a very recalcitrant, perhaps even denialist federal administration. So we want to make sure that we are holding fossil fuel companies accountable for years of covering up their impact on our environment and laying the groundwork to try to invest more into our state insurance market. So there's a lot of bills that we're working on, there's a lot of actions that we're doing, there's a lot of partnerships that we're forging with local organizations, and we're happy to have a direct line with Indivisible at any time. But that's the overview. But again, there's a lot of fronts that we need to take action on. From climate action, to making sure that people can live in their homes, to making sure that people can go to school without fear, to making sure that our LGBTQ communities can go out there and live our lives without fear as well. And there's a lot that we are planning to vote on and a lot that we're planning to write. But no matter what, we're always dedicated to being accessible to input. I'm in constant communication with Indivisible, and especially with Kyoko, I always keep a direct line there. No matter the time of day, I'm very happy to connect our team with anything going on in the grassroots. So happy to answer any questions, and thank you for the time, and thank you again for being here, because this is what solidarity looks like.
So maybe we'll just take a few moments, because we do have a big agenda. If there are maybe 2 or 3 questions for Nathan that people have on their mind in terms of what the state legislature is working on or what the senator's office. This was a great recap of some of the most important issues. Okay, I'm going to just run over here so we can get you.
I just wanted to know if the senator is coordinating with Congressperson Khan, the one we heard is going to meet next week. Do those offices collaborate for local issues?
Yes. Yes, certainly. So we have a pretty good relationship both locally and in the state with our colleague in the Assembly, Bauer Kahan. And yeah, there's a lot of areas of common interest. For example, while we're working on the details of our AI legislation, I am aware that the Assembly member is working with SAG-AFTRA, the Screen Actors Guild, and other unions to roll out privacy protections and contract protections for AI. That's something that we're looking at as well. So AI safety, supporting environmental justice in our communities. There's a lot of areas of overlap. And even just constituent casework, when folks need help connecting with federal and state resources, our offices are after that.
Great. Oh, okay. I agree. My 10,000 steps.
Is the state working on any legislature or even preparing for the possibility of withholding, impounding our federal taxes, given the illegal activity that the federal government is engaged in?
I just want to put a good,
Can you
not
repeat? We can't
Oh,
hear.
so the question was, is there any discussion in Sacramento yet about offering Californians a possible impound account to avoid having to give our taxes to the federal government, where the money may be used for things that are illegal or
idea.
we don't believe in?
So, that's actually why, the first two pieces of legislation I brought up, so not necessarily, actually, yeah, that's a good example. So we're talking about SB 86 with our clean energy, program, as well as before that, the special session for our legal defense fund. I can't speak about something as complicated as an impound fund, there's a whole legal minefield there, a whole constitutional minefield there. But the whole idea of making sure that the good work that we're doing right here in the state is safe, that we can keep doing it, making sure that, the biggest example of that is our technologies to combat climate change with energy and all the other green techs. Making sure that that's safe from federal intrusion, that's a big reason why SB 86 with the tax incentive structure, that's just one piece of many going on in the state legislature to ensure that the state can exercise that power correctly and responsibly. Now, of course, with resistance against the federal government, like if we're talking about, cutting back on tax sharing and not involving ourselves with certain programs and initiatives from this administration, that's exactly why the Legal Defense Fund was the top priority right after the wildfires for the legislature too. And again, we're already seeing that. As soon as there's something that is just a major constitutional overreach, we know that our state attorney general, with support from the legislature, is going to fight back and figure out, okay, how can we actually protect our constitutional rights here? How can we work with other states to put up, for lack of a better term, a resistance? So that's definitely something we're talking about a lot in every office in the legislature. We're all thinking about that right now. So this is the fight that we're taking on, and it's taking on more aspects every single day.
Maybe time for one more question? Oh, good, someone in the front.
Yeah, I'll pass it. There you go.
Is there any way we can get recourse, like sue Trump for taking 2.2 billion gallons of our water? Wasting it?
There you go. Yeah. Left. Can you repeat?
Yeah, so we're talking about Trump just unilaterally deciding where we're gonna send our water, how we're gonna use our water. That's, again, another example of overreach. And let me just make sure that I'm referring to the right bill. So there's two sides of that, of the water issue. And again, when we're talking about a region as vast and as complex as the Tri-Valley stretching to the San Joaquin Valley, water's top of, like, genuinely, consistently always been one of our top priorities. So there's two sides of that. Number one, SB 31. With SB 31, again, opening up a new front in this whole water war, a front that we can actually build consensus behind, water recycling. And we know that Livermore and Dublin, for example, already do a heck of a job doing this, repurposing water, doing it sustainably, doing it efficiently. We want to make sure that all the other municipalities and as many homeowners, as many apartments, as many businesses do their share as well. We're having the federal government essentially try to divide us between north and south. It's ridiculous. It's not even farmer against like everyone else. Farms up in north are being devastated by these decisions. And there are projects that the administration, they're threatening to waste billions of dollars on that would devastate ecosystems up north. So on the one hand, reducing demand, increasing supply with initiatives like SB 31, and on the other hand, building up strong coalitions with environmental groups throughout the state, and from restorative delta over in the San Joaquin Valley all the way to our tribes across the state, making sure that we have a full court press to defend our state from unnecessary and wasteful decisions with our water, and making sure that we actually have a real strategy that will adjust our water needs and our water use to the years ahead. This right now, just turning off the spigot here and turning it on there, that's just not it. So that's a great question, and thank you for asking. I can be quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am concerned that the federal government is gonna affect our benefits. Is this like Medi-Cal is on the line and who knows what's coming next? Is the state starting to think about that? What can you guys do to help us if they start cutting benefits like that?
Just repeat this
Yeah.
gist of it.
Yeah, just the gist of it is like, yeah, just making sure that our benefits are intact, that's something that we're looking at as well. We're on the ready and just keeping a close eye at the federal developments because, yeah, the whole fight over entitlements, over benefits, the state, we saw this during the first administration. The state had to keep a close eye and make sure that there weren't any devastating cuts. And we're lucky that, we're very happy that the Social Security Fairness Act passed so recently. And we made sure whenever there was a call to our office about the SSFA, we connected them right away to the federal administration. We need to make sure that we have that communication go on still, because the senator and the rest of the state legislature can't make any promises, but we can promise that we're keeping a close eye and we're making sure that, yeah, our benefits and all these other crucial programs are still priorities in the state. So thank you for raising that.
Thanks very much, Nathan. It was really good to have you here. Thanks for those good questions. And don't forget that, sending emails to our US senators, for instance, on that issue you raised about, I'm not comfortable giving my tax dollars to crooks. Those are things that our senators need to hear frequently, and it makes a difference with what they're getting. So, and I know some of you, when we were doing a lot of phone calling about 3 weeks ago, couldn't get through. Email always gets through, so again, that's always a good way, especially in terms of the federal elected officials. So that's great if you can do that. So thanks again to Nathan. I'm going to turn over the agenda now to Kyoko, and she's going to inform us and educate us a little bit about Indivisible California and our State Strong Association.
Hello, everybody. Probably most of you do not know, we actually have a California statewide coalition to push our agenda through the state legislatures. So that's called California State Strong. It's CAS. And last year, we had over 80 groups everywhere in California working together. This year, we have no idea how many more. So there are 5 groups. Democracy reform. So we worked on the election stuff, voting rights stuff, and actually the AI stuff to protect for the fair election. Those are the bills last year we worked on. Some of them passed, some of them are carried over for this year. So if you want to help pass those bills, that's the group you need to join. Healthcare, nonsense to say, final goal of the Indivisible group is healthcare for all. At the moment, it's really hard to talk about it because every single healthcare program is in jeopardy. We are under the attack. So, as Nathan was saying, our state legislators are fighting back. And as long as we have the budget, we can do a lot of stuff, but that's not in our control. So we do as much as we can, and they have been. So for instance, Medi-Cal, state Medicaid system is expanded to the undocumented population, as well as the covered California eligibility was expanded to the undocumented population. And argument we hear is sometimes, why are we helping these people with our budget? Because having health care and putting more effort into the preventative care is much less expensive. So we have to see the long-term vision And healthier the people, everybody can work effectively, right? So if you are sick, you can't work. So the healthy workforce is super important to sustain our economy. Especially right now, we have a lot of people saying, why do we care about the undocumented population? But those are the population who are doing a lot of hard work. Our gardener, house cleaner, farmers. Right now, after the Bakersfield ice lake, 75% of the farm workers in that region are no-show. It can actually affect our food cost, huge, big time. So that's important. And healthcare is part of that stuff. So racial and criminal justice include immigration, LGBTQ rights, so human rights and stuff like that are all under that group. And economic justice include education. And climate justice is something what Nathan and actually Senator McNally is really up on it. So they are normally meeting bi-weekly, and through the year, we actually, after we pick up the priority bills, each of us take a piece of legislation, and we talk to the author's office, we talk to the coalition people, because a lot of time we work with unions, we work with 350.org, Sierra Club, League of Women Voters. We are part of this big progressive movement, and we work with them, but somebody has to talk to them for each bills. Over 2,000 bills will be introduced every year, and we are gonna pick some bills, and we are in that process. So the state legislation's last day for this year cycle is 21st. And we have another week to pick our pick. And each individual group can pick 5 bills. So we will actually discuss about it in steering committee, and if you want to be part of that discussion, just let me know. And so how CAS will select priority bills? Groups and work groups. So those 5 work groups, we have about 10 to 20 people in each working groups currently still working. And they are, we are both able to put some bills through February 28th. So we can nominate up to 5 bills per group, and the group must be in the coalition. And organizing committee will vet bills on March 3rd. And this meeting is open for everybody. So we will send you the information. So if you are interested in state level legislative work, you can attend that. And after that, few of the bills will be selected, and we will vote on it. So if you want to be more active on this particular process, please let us know. And so we will have our own group legislation voting done by the steering committee, but your voice will be heard. Or you can actually join the work groups and you start working on it. This is a volunteer group. So let's face it, unless somebody says, I'm gonna take that bill, I can work on this bill, nothing's gonna happen. So each work group has to decide how many bills we can take on. So if you join, we can work on more bills. That's the reality of it. And the selection criteria is as following. Is this a big issue that individual groups across the state care about? Does this bill protect or expand the rights of marginalized populations? Will our support, our work, or opposition of this bill demonstrate strong allyship with other progressive partners? And most importantly, will this bill be a tough fight in the legislation and benefit from grassroots individual support? If we work on it and we can pass it, that's the bills we want to take on. So yes, reproductive health care, abortion rights bills will be important, but at the same time, in California, they are not gonna get lots of oppositions. So we are not likely to work on those bills. On the other hand, like public financing direction, we all want that, but still there are lots of opposition. So it didn't pass last year, so it's carried over this year, and Senator McNally is part of the co-author team. We would work on that. It was last year's priority bill and reintroduced, so we already have some bills we are going to work on it. And does this bill relate to federal issues? So like everybody's asking questions, can we do something about the program they are creating, deal with it at state level legislation? That's a good question, and if something comes up, we are likely to pick on that one. And does this bill help change the rules and structures of the democratic system to make it work better? So like the other day, I was chairing this meeting, and one of the volunteers said, you know, the most important thing we can do is working on the Citizens United, because the money in the politics is a huge, huge problem. I agree, but that's a federal issue, and it's not gonna probably happen this year. And we have to protect our state, our communities at the moment. So yes, those are the big, big long-term goals, but we will do something on the ground when we can act on it, right? So how many people are outside Livermore here? Pleasanton or wherever? So I just wanted to tell you, so we do have the second indivisible group in Tri-Valley. They are based in Pleasanton. And we actually had a huge impact this week. On Thursday, I received the email. Pleasanton School Board is having this really, really bad resolution coming up. And we want to have the opposition letters and going there and talk against it. It was, I think, 11 a.m. I sent out the email. 200 letters were received within a few hours. And I think 100 people showed up or something like that. So it took over 1 hour to have all this hearing. People are saying, no, we oppose that. At the end of the day, they actually oppose this stuff. So we won. But if we didn't know about it, and if nobody showed up, it could have passed. So each city, town, county, we have to keep an eye on it, and we have to actually fight with them, because they need to hear from us, and only you can actually reach out. And today, we have a couple elected officials here. City Council Member Livermore, Christy Wan. And Stephen Dunbar. Anybody else? I didn't see anybody else, but so that's what we are doing. And this is a big meeting. Every month they actually have public meeting. Anybody can attend and hear what CAS is doing. That's a monthly meeting, and you can register here. And I will send out the meeting information, how to get involved later, because so there is a sign-up sheet, and when you actually sign up, you will receive the Zoom call information. Any questions? Okay.
Thank you, Kyoko. That's great. I don't know about you, but it makes me feel heartened to know that there's over 80 other indivisible groups working together at the state level, and that our voices are going to be heard. And I look forward to hearing from more of you who get involved in the State Strong meetings and to hear what's going on and what the consensus is. Yes?
You said 80 other organizations, is that nationwide?
No, that's just in California.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. I don't have the latest count of how many indivisible chapters there are, Marla. Is it 6,000, I think? It's over 6,000 national. We're gonna post these slides also, a link to them, as well as this rather dark video that's getting shot over here on our website. Because I know this morning I was flooded with text messages going, I didn't sign up for the meeting, can I still come? And I had to tell all of them, I'm sorry, we're at room capacity. So we will post these for you guys. I'm going to now ask my colleague Karen Jefferson to just say a couple words about our day of service. No, I'm going to do it? Okay, all right. I am not Karen Jefferson. But you're going to, hopefully we'll have a great turnout next weekend on February 22nd, which is Saturday morning. We're going to try and tackle the corner, I know I ride my bike by there sometimes, of Patterson Pass and Greenville. It's sort of the northeast corner of the lab territory there. And what we ask you to do is get there right at 10 a.m. and there's plenty of parking on Patterson Pass Road. That's safe. And if you can wear a long sleeve shirt or jacket, depending on the temperature, and long pants, really important, closed-toed shoes. That's important to protect you if you're lifting anything up or going into the tougher areas. And if you have some work gloves, bring them. Andy will supply us with pickup sticks and bags and some extra gloves and all that kind of stuff. And he'll give us sort of the rules of the road, sort of a trash picker 101 seminar. And for those of you like me who are retired, this could become a second career. Anyway, Andy's great, and I know you're going to really enjoy spending time with him. He spoke to us, I think, last August, and I know I kind of left feeling sort of inspired about what we could do together. So this is also our first test on a community service day, and if it goes well and we have a good turnout, we might try and do these more often, because it's a great way to get together and get to know one another outside of talking about what might be so much stressful topics. So, Helen, if you could just step to the microphone for a moment and give us a little bit of an update. I know you and your colleagues have been working like stevedores, as it were. And so, thank you.
Hi, everyone. A lot of you were probably here last month when we talked about this. We have a very loose, at this moment, group of people. And if you were here last month and gave me your email, you should have gotten an email from me a couple of weeks ago. Of doing these sorts of things. We have,
It's your superpower.
oh, look at me, oh yeah. You can tell I'm part of the tech team, right? There, whoops, there, okay, sorry. Yes. Anyway, we are helping out the people who are impacted by the present administration's immigration rules. It's really necessary. These people are here, they're our neighbors. They mow our yards and do heaven knows what else for us. Anyway, so I am impressed. Last time we went through this, 2017, no one was doing Know Your Rights events. I think we were practically the only one in the area that were doing them. This year already, I know of 6 in the Bay Area, all of which were recorded so we can spread the word. And most of them were in a variety of languages, which is really good. We're going to plan bystander intervention training, which, if you don't know what it is, it's if you're on BART or the grocery store and you hear someone getting on someone's case because they aren't speaking English, for heaven's sake, or whatever else. It's a way to peacefully interrupt that kind of, you don't have to punch them. They might punch back. But it's just a way to protect the person without endangering anyone. So it's very useful. It's very useful. We probably will do rapid response, which is if there is an ice raid in the area, we appear and we record it. We can't do anything to stop it. Livermore police can't stop, but we can record it to make sure that the family is as safe as possible and that they get legal help. Okay, know your rights cards, which is probably one of the more important things we do. I have a pocket full. Eileen, where are you? Okay, I have yours. That we give to access until they get their own. The library is probably going to buy their own. Distributing information, like all the recordings, so they have everyone has the resources to help if they are asked about problems. We've already met with our city police chief. We're meeting with the superintendent of education tomorrow? No, Tuesday. We're meeting with Yesenia Sanchez, our sheriff, in a couple of weeks, to talk to them to make sure that everyone's sort of on the same page as much as possible. And we've talked to the city council back there. And one of the things we might do is grocery shopping for adults who are afraid to leave their homes. But anyway, one of the major things is passing out Know Your Rights cards, which are the little red cards that we drop off everywhere. I have some extras, so if anyone at the end of this meeting would like a couple to give, people who might be impacted, and they are English and Spanish, and basically it's something you give ICE if they come to your house. You slide it under the door and tell them you know your rights, and it's in Spanish and English, so you don't have to be able to speak English to communicate with them. If anyone is interested in helping, and again, all kinds of help, there's a sign-up sheet in the back. And I think that's it. Anyone have any questions? Yeah, oh gosh. Mary, can you yell?
I'm good at yelling.
I know.
7 years of voice lessons.
Yes.
Do you have any plans, or have you yet done farmers market with these Know Your Rights cards?
Not yet, that's on the list.
Good.
Okay, that's it. Yeah.
One quick question. I wonder if you can comment at all about the recent information we've heard that the former women's detention facility in Dublin may be used by ICE?
I don't know any more than you do, but I've heard it for a long time, and I would not be a bit surprised, because one of the things I heard early on was they wanted to concentrate on raids that were close to the border, so they could just ship them back across, close to cities with large airports, like Chicago and Houston, so they can put them on planes, or places that have detention facilities that are available. I wouldn't be a bit surprised, and it would just sully the reputation of that place even more than it already is, if that's possible. Yeah, Jim.
I just want to let you know I have maybe between 150 and 200 of those cards. So if the line is real strong for Helen, you can see me and I'll give you some.
Yay, Jim. Jim's one of our original immigration people. Oh, one more, yeah.
Hi, I actually work for Santa Clara County, and the county, as well as every city, has made public statements that the employees are not to allow any federal immigration agent on site to harass, basically, and ask for immigration status. Has the county here or the city of Livermore done the same for their employees?
I believe when we talked to the police chief, no one asked, the schools, they don't ask immigration, documentation status. It's just not a question. You don't ask documentation if the police stop you for speeding or whatever. Yeah, I think it's pretty much across California. At least that's the law, whether,
Yeah, it's specifically if ICE comes into our building for work,
right,
we don't have to speak with them.
right. And I was at a Know Your Rights event, a couple of weeks ago, and it was at a church, which we know now is fair game for ICE. But there was a gentleman standing by the door because they couldn't come in without a warrant. And to ask to, and they, no, they didn't come, thank goodness, but, yeah. I think we're gonna be doing this for 4 years, unfortunately. Okay, Joanne, I think you're up. Wait a minute. Yes, you are. And I don't know if I did or not. Okay, there you go.
Okay, my name is Joanne. I'm on the steering committee for Livermore Indivisible and for Livermore Advocates for Public Education. LAPE was originally the education committee of Livermore Indivisible. We started working with the schools, with the school board, after Trump was elected. We wanted to get a resolution passed for what they call Safe School Resolution, and the board was very reluctant to take that public stance. The president of the board took a meeting with us, however, and explained that they had applications for 3 large federal grants pending, which they didn't want to endanger. So we said, that's fine, we'll just go right to work on policy then. And so they essentially let us rewrite a major part of the policy about visitors on campus, so that under the law that existed at the time, we were able to make the campuses as impenetrable as possible for ICE. And since that time, we've been working with the school board on various issues. Then during the COVID epidemic, right about that same time, there were anti-vaxxers, and the Moms for Liberty started organizing, and they started attending school board meetings. So we went and did verbal combat with them. But at that time, we decided our work had grown so much, and our committee had grown so much, that we became a separate entity, but still affiliated with Livermore Indivisible. So we called ourselves Livermore Advocates for Public Education. And that was 2023. So as this says, we're formally dedicated to inform, advocate for, and educate the public about the Livermore school system. We are advocates for public education policies that are inclusive and celebrate the diversity of experience. We do everything we can to protect undocumented kids, kids with undocumented families, and LGBTQ plus kids. So we strive to eliminate and prevent political, racial, gender, ability, religious, and cultural bias in public education policies. So what are we doing right now? We are planning right now a rally in downtown. We have, it'll be sometime, not this week, but next week. We haven't solidified the date yet, but we're going to be working with all of our allied organizations, including Livermore Indivisible, to get as many people there as possible, because we really need to defend the Department of Education. And people ask me all the time, how will it affect our school district if DOE is eliminated? And I'm not sure exactly. Everything that's funded through DOE with our district, I'm going to be meeting, Kellen and I are going to be meeting with the superintendent this week to talk about that and other issues. But the Department of Education provides billions of federal aid to colleges and schools. They also directly to students provide grants and loans. They administer the student loan portfolio for the entire country. They also fund special programs for students with disabilities, students who live in poverty, American Indians, immigrants, and students with limited English proficiency. So it's really a very large amount of money that they administer and provide to school districts. So we want to keep that coming because even if they cut off those programs and put them with other agencies, they're probably going to discontinue. So the other thing we're doing is providing legal rights immigration to immigrant and mixed status families. And I spoke with the superintendent about that. She's very supportive of getting these red cards into the hands of students who will take them home to their families. I've heard from teachers that kids are really, well, I know personally from my own kids, they have friends who are really scared about their families. And some families are so afraid of being detected that they have cut off their internet service because they don't trust Comcast. And so the school board is limited and the district is limited in how they can get the information to these families. And one way is for the kids to take it home with them. So we are going to be providing those red cards, putting them in the hands of teachers so that they can make sure the kids get them. And of course, as always, we're going to be monitoring school board policies and actively supporting positive changes. There will be some new policies coming out from the California School Board Association. They create model policies. And so those will be coming out in March, and they're to be adopted by May. So we will be overseeing those when they come out for our district, and maybe making some changes to them, or maybe just encouraging the board to adopt them as they are. But we've had very good success working with the school board. We have a really good school board, except we have one candidate from the Moms for Liberty group who was elected.
We heard.
Yeah, some of you have heard. She's been very quiet so far, but some of her friends have already showed up and are publicly espousing religious policies that they want to see in schools. So that's something we have to combat. She's only one vote, but her friends show up at meetings and create controversy as much as they can. So that's what we're up against. Any questions? Yes?
Communicate to everyone what the district has already done since Trump was elected as far as supporting the CRE, supporting LGBTQ plus students, and the immigration ICE policies that just passed at the last board meeting.
Repeat the question.
Yeah,
What was the question?
I think BJ wants me to tell you about what LAP has already done, and what's been happening. At the last board meeting, the board did pass a policy on ICE that the modern policy has been out for a while. It wasn't adopted right away by our board, I think because we had already created the policy about visitors on campus, which was essentially the same as the policy that came out, but it has formally been adopted. Protecting students, requiring that ICE, if they show up, they have to have a judicial warrant. And that's different from what they usually show up with. They usually have an administrative warrant that's issued by the department itself. And that is no longer sufficient. It has to be a warrant signed by a judge, which means they have to go to court, they have to get in front of a judge and get an order signed by the judge, which is another hurdle that they have to jump in order to get an effective warrant.
Like any other legal eviction, you have to go through the court first.
Right, right. So was there something else? BJ, I couldn't hear everything you were saying.
Well, I just wanted to add that the district has been very open and public communicating with parents about their support.
Oh, yeah, thank you, yes. The administration has been really, really good communicating with parents, both about immigration issues and about LGBTQ plus students. And we appreciate that. They have a really open communication. They send emails to parents. They send them in Spanish and English. And so they do communicate. And I see somebody's hand up there.
Yes, Joanne, what is our school district here in Livermore doing about protections for LGBTQ plus kids? Have they changed their policy? I'm not clear about this. Or are they considering changing that policy? The same as Pleasanton voted against it. What's Livermore doing?
Livermore is not going to change the policy. There hasn't been any suggestion that they would change the policy. They have a very strong, a very strong policy of non-discrimination and equity and inclusion. So I don't see that changing. And we won't let them anyway. Anybody else? Yes?
Does LAPE send out emails on the Livermore indivisible email list just for alerting when school board meetings are coming up, especially if one of these model idiots is going to make
Can you repeat it so we?
Okay, he wants to know if LAPE sends out emails to the Livermore indivisible list when important things are coming up.
Do we send out, does LI send out notice of LAP, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Well, he's asking if we do it through Livermore indivisible. We have not been doing that. We have an email list. And if you'd like to be on our list, thank you for asking that question. There, on the table where you made your name tag, there is a sign-up list for LAPE, and we would like to put you on our mailing list. If you're interested in working with us and helping out, you can say what you're interested in, and we would be glad to have you. BJ.
You can also sign up for our newsletter at lc4pe.org.
Right. Yes, you can subscribe to our newsletter through our website, which is lc4pe.org. That's LC, the number 4, PE. Thanks, BJ. Anybody else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Joanne, and thank you for all the members of LAPE. Every time I scratch my head and wonder how many 177 million people vote against their own interests, it reminds me how fortunate we are because the Tri-Valley has a wonderful structure for our public education systems, and I'm very thankful for that, and thank you for continuing to advocate for our students. Just before we get to this slide, I just wanted to first off, these are our sort of paid announcements that I was required to tell you. Last month, a number of you dropped a few bills or coins into our collection box, and I just want to say it was the most we had ever collected, and that, you know, renting this room and paying for our Zoom account and all the other stuff, it does add up. If you were here in January, you saw our financial breakdown. So we are completely volunteer, and the donations really help. There is a link on our Livermore Indivisible website, and you can donate through that also if you are interested.
Ask if anyone knows of a larger room in town.
Oh, right, yes, okay, and we are going to be exploring where we can meet in the future in a bigger room, because we think meeting in person is really important. I think all of us have had enough Zoom-only meetings in our past 4 years, so we're going to be looking at that, and if anyone has any suggestions, or would like to offer up a nice big home audio-video theater for 200 people, they have we'll take it. So, but that also is a great bridge into our teams. So, as I mentioned, we did a survey of you guys in January, and we had about 50 responses, which was definitely enough to give us a sense of the trends. And so we are going to be introducing to you the See Most teams, that's the way I remember it here, communications team, the meeting and event planning team, the outreach team, the social team, and the tech team. And just to anticipate a few questions, you don't have to be on a team. You can still be a Livermore Indivisible member. You can be on more than one team if you're a glutton for punishment. And what will the teams be doing? If you join one, you'll be helping to define what that team does. But the essence of the teams is really simple. As I said at the outset to our meeting, we want to activate every person in this room to feel like they've got a stake in what we're doing to protect the things we love about America and to also prevent some of the things that we see coming that we have the capacity as voters, as citizens, as critical thinkers to take a stand for. So the teams are going to be involved in very different things. But collectively, there'll be some overlap, and I think will also, as I said earlier, give us a chance in the team context to get to know one another more and to collaborate with our fellow citizens in things that are important. So enough of that. The communication team will be working, this is just our starting spot. We want to develop a coordinated schedule to write about things that are important to us, our membership, the issues that matter. Like, for instance, we just had the question for Maryland about LGBTQ plus questioning students and people in our community. So that might be one of the themes that we ask members of the communications team to be writing to the San Jose Mercury News, to the East Bay Express, to the San Francisco Chronicle, to all of the places that we can get our voices heard to persuade more people in our community to join our way of thinking. We're also going to ask the team to start to help us to develop more content for posting on various platforms and to help us with our communication strategy going forward, so more people in the Tri-Valley know about us, what we're doing, and the issues that are important to us. We're also going to work on developing a new email structure, whether it's MailChimp or something like that, so we can email more effectively, we can find out how many of our emails are being read, things like that. So that will be overlap with the tech team. But also to, as someone pointed out, and we're going to have a couple of announcements at the very end about things coming up in the next few days, we want to make sure that if something's coming up, like for instance LAPE next week, we want to make sure every one of you knows about it in advance, so as many of us can be there as possible to support that. So keeping in mind that, you know, the average age of us steering committee members is definitely more than 60. We're really counting on some people joining our teams, that things like, stickiness and read-through rates and all that stuff you guys know about, and you can kind of become our coaches. So we're really looking forward to that. The meeting and event planning team, first off, everyone who came early today and helped set up this room, raise your hand. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. This is the first time in 14 months that Karen and I weren't lifting like 15 tables all by ourselves. It was great. It really felt great to have you here. So this team will be working on planning our monthly meetings and figuring out some ideas for our speakers, our topics, our themes. Obviously helping with the room setup and assisting with meeting operations. We'll help to plan and organize any other events. Certainly this summer we hope to have a picnic, and although this is not an election year per se in our district, next year we will be working 2026 on putting some candidate forums. That's something that's super important to let people know where everyone stands. And then sending out follow-up emails after meetings and events will be part of what this team works on, plus other things that you guys come up with. The outreach team will be working on organizing and keeping communication flowing regularly with our elected officials. It was great to have Nathan and one of his colleagues from Jerry's office here today. And again, between Kyoko and I, we're trying to stay in touch with RDK's office at least twice a month. The meeting on February 28th is going to be really great to find out what her priorities are, and also let her know what we're thinking about. Also, the outreach team will help us to collaborate with other grassroots organizations on events, workshops, actions, know your rights training, all that. So Nathan just waved to me and just wanted to remind everybody the contact information right here is for Nathan. Nathan.tran, Tran, at sen.ca.gov. So gotta get that in there. Okay. The social team will be working on welcoming new members, and we've been adding members at a good clip, which we're super excited about. And that can be just as much as a Facebook post, but even better, a phone call, or even offering up some Saturday morning to say to the 10 most recent members, yeah, I'm going to be at Panama Coffee. If you want to stop by Saturday morning and just say hi, things like that. Greeting members at meetings, helping with our name tags, our check-ins, all that. The social team, we hope, will also help to organize our Spanish language group. Again, looking to 2026, we want to develop capacity within our organization to be able to canvass and knock on doors and speak at a rudimentary level of Spanish so that we can talk to people in their homes, at their doorsteps, about issues and candidates that we think are important. We already have someone who's volunteered to help lead that group who has taught Spanish language before. And then we also want to help organize and convene a Surviving 47 group. That's the second iteration of the group title. It used to be called WHINE, W-H-I-N-E, and WHINE, W-I-N-E. So but now it's called the Surviving 47. So please, let us know if you want to be on these. We're going to tell you how to do that in just a minute. The tech team, again, I sort of, already let the cat out of the bag that we don't have any Steve Wozniaks at the moment on our LASC steering committee, but you'll be helping with the back-end data, the technology platforms, and also helping us choose and learn the new software like I was talking about, one for our email client, another for our list management, or some sort of a combined software like Action Center or something like that. And then also to advise and assist on social media use. We want to start a YouTube channel. Right now we don't have that going yet. So this is all stuff, if you've already done that or you know how to do that, we need you. And then recommend ways to improve member engagement via the tools that are commonly used. And then help with hybrid meetings. It's clear that probably in the short term, we're going to need to stay in this room until we find a better room, but add a hybrid capability here so that the 6 friends that texted me this morning can just, if they forget to sign up on Mobilize, I can say, oh, it's going to be hybrid, you can check it out on Facebook Live or YouTube Live or something like that. So that's where we're headed. So here it comes, another drum roll. You now, if you have a smartphone, can get a picture of this, not a picture, but you can scan this, and you can go right to a Google form, and it has just really 2 things on it. What's your name, and which of these teams, would you like to be on? So we'll leave this on here for a minute, and are there any questions about any of the 5 teams? Oh.
Just so that you don't assume that we're total Luddites, we do have a YouTube channel.
Oh! I stand corrected. But you just built it though, right?
No, we've had a YouTube channel for, I don't know, 6, 8 months.
Oh my God. Okay. Obviously, I'm a little slow on the uptake.
And they don't need to decide right this minute. You don't need to decide right this minute. There's more information coming.
Right. This is just how you do it, when you want to do it. You don't have to do it right this second. There is more information coming about some of the team activities, and the big thing is that we're going to have the first provisional team meetings this coming week. So you could attend 1 or 2 of the team meetings on Zoom. Yes, it's the only way we can do it during the week, and see what the conversation is like. Someone on outreach may decide they'd rather be on social, or vice versa. So yeah, so you can do team shopping. Okay. Other questions or suggestions? That was kind of like our laugh-in portion of the script. Yes.
I'm just wondering how we can get our college-age students involved. Like, I'm thinking about how many of you probably have like techie kids.
Right.
It's really hit me this year. My son's at Berkeley, the Center for Social Justice movement, right? He's the only one of his 4 roommates who voted. We've got to get. I drove up in Gottsburg.
Yes.
Because he grew up in a family where we always voted. We always put the stickers on his. There was just no question he was voting. And I'm really passionate. I'll probably do the outreach. How we get these young people to believe that the Democratic Party is on their side.
Right.
They don't.
Yeah, no, they definitely don't. And of course, the conflict in Gaza did a lot to destroy that. Well, now, 2 months ago meeting, we did have a member, Manav, I don't know, are you back with Manav here today? No. But he volunteered to be a bridge. Las Positas does have a student activism group.
Yeah.
I have not been able to get into contact with them directly yet, but that's one of the reasons the outreach team is going to figure out how to do that. So, yeah. Yes, and I know that some of my friends in Oakland did a program in 2023 where they worked with the school district to offer 17-year-olds the chance to pre-register to vote, so that as soon as they turned 18, they were in the system as a registered voter, and maybe we could work.
Well, and I know that SAVE Act is like, they're trying, that would make it very hard for our college students to vote if that passes.
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah, the whole thing with IDs, yeah. So, yes.
Okay, I just wanted to say, this does not include LAPE, but if you'd like to sign up for LAPE in addition to one of these teams, please sign up on our sheet at the back of the room with your email address, and we'll get in touch with you and send you a Zoom link for the next meeting. Thank you.
Yes, exactly. It's our sister organization. Okay, I'm going to move on from this now to the next steps. So as I mentioned, we'll have 30-minute meetings of each of the teams next week via Zoom. One will be on a weekday afternoon, and the other will be on a weekend day. The times and dates will be on an upcoming slide here. You only need to come either on the afternoon, which I think is Wednesday, the 19th.
It's right up there.
Oh, it is right up there. I'm so sorry. Yes, the 19th, or on Sunday, the 23rd. Can I stay longer if I come to the outreach meeting and see what the next team's talking about? Of course. So, yeah. again, these meetings will be, I guess, what I would call, to just sort of see who's in the room, talk about things, what we think we can do, get everybody on board, and hopefully set up a time to have a regular meeting. The teams will meet outside of our regular times. It might be right before our general meeting or in an evening on Zoom, etc. Again, based on the makeup of a particular team, if it's all retirees like me, we can meet during the day. If it's a bunch of working folks, it can meet at night. So we will be flexible. Sure. And if you can't make any of those initial meetings, just talk to someone of the steering committee members, and we're going to be taking notes at the meeting. We can share them with you. These are just the liaison folks. If you are interested in a particular team, you already know that. You can just take a picture of this, and you can get a hold of one of us. And again, the slides will be posted after our meeting.
Oh, I'll send an email.
Oh, even better. Yeah. Marla will send an email to everyone. So the slides will be there. Okay, we are moving right along. I see snapping is done. So this is the schedule for Wednesday and Sunday. There is a mobilized link that you'll go to when you use this QR code for either of the 2 days. And you can just sign up on Mobilize, and then we'll get you the Zoom link before the scheduled time. It's just going to be one long Zoom, so in other words, on Wednesday when we open up the doors at 2, it'll just keep running like one session until 4:30 when it concludes. So you can hop in and hop out if you need to. So, just have that spreadsheet open on if you're at work, you can just have that spreadsheet open. If your boss comes by, you can just, oh yeah, we're on a spreadsheet. Have that ready to go. Okay, let's see, are there any other notes I have here? I think we're almost in the home stretch for, just throughout, there's just, our next meeting is going to be Sunday, March 16th. I'm saying location to be determined because if something breaks, then we get a bigger room that also has some AV capability. We'll be super excited. If not, I think our current thinking is we'll be back here, but we'll add some sort of a Facebook Live or hybrid option. So here are the last chance at our famous QR codes. I like the ones with the dinosaurs. So the morning of community service, again, that is Saturday the 22nd, 10 a.m. till noon, I believe. And there will be snacks provided by LI afterwards. So free food, always good. And then this is to sign up for a particular team. You can do that today, or you could wait and just come to some of the meetings next week and then add yourself to one of the teams. Okay. I'm going to leave that up for just a minute or two more since there's so many of those. I still see cameras going.
Can you put it up for after? Because like my following is telling me.
Oh, yeah.
That we can.
I'm gonna send an email to
You'll send it
everybody.
in.
As long as I have your email address, if you signed up or if you signed in, I will send an email hopefully this evening, but it might not be till tomorrow, depending on when we can get the video up on our YouTube. But I'll send you all this information, links to where to go to sign up. So it'll be all there.
It's
So you don't have
easier.
to worry about it if you, don't want to do it now.
Sure, say that.
Yeah. Should I just?
Get transition to that and.
That's it, that's the last slide. You can go back and keep that up.
Oh, to this one, okay.
Yeah. So, some actions you can take, I mean, we've talked about a lot of things already, but here are a few more things that are coming up. Tomorrow, there is a rally, not my president rally, that Kyoko helped to organize.
You're going to say a little more about it?
You want to talk about it?
Okay. So this is just last minute stuff, so I don't have speakers, I don't have MC, I have no idea what we're gonna do. But we're gonna do together and with signs, and you can make signs, anything like, not my president, didn't vote for mask, you get the idea, right? So, and this is in Dublin, in front of the city hall, but we are not protesting to the city. So that to be clear, it's for this presidential administration. And the reason it's there is one of my volunteers said, Hiroko, I'm gonna go and protest. Can you help me? I said, you wanna do the rally? Do you want to make it big? Okay, I will announce it everywhere. So when I left the home this morning, there were 40 people signed up. So with you guys, we can easily beat 100. So please join.
Thanks, Carol. So it's at noon tomorrow, at Dublin City Hall. If you use Mobilize, there's a way to sign up for it too. And if I get my email out early enough, I will include a link to that as well, so it makes it a little easier. But otherwise, it's just tomorrow, Dublin City Hall.
Yeah, so tomorrow is a major day of protests around the country. Is this
Closer.
one of those?
Yes.
Okay.
It's our version of it, our participation in it. Okay, so that's one, that's tomorrow. Tuesday, Congressman Swalwell, if you live in his district, is having a town hall. It has been filled already wherever they're having it, and so he is live streaming it on Facebook Live. Again, I will send a link to it in my email. But it's Tuesday from 6:30 to 8 p.m. So please join, watch, I don't know if we'll be able to ask questions, but at least hear what he has to say about what's happening in DC. And you can always contact him if you have any further questions. It's good to have Congressman Swalwell and our two senators on your speed dial, make those calls. So that's a good way to hear from him directly though. And 3, there's the economic blackout date. I don't know if people have heard about it. It's not really affiliated with Indivisible or anything, but I think it's through the People's Union. But it's all day on Friday, February 28th. They're asking no shopping unless you absolutely have to, and no major retail shopping, like Amazon, Walmart, that sort of thing. If you have to go, try to go to local businesses. We're just trying to show we the people have power and our voices need to be heard. So that is the story behind that. It's a nationwide thing, not associated with Indivisible, but something that we think is something relatively easy, I think, to do for most people. And if it makes an impact, then I think we should try to do it. Yeah.
Just really quickly, I mentioned this in another meeting. Most people have a smartphone. There's a free app called Goods Unite Us. It looks like a microphone. That is a great way to vote with your wallet every day of the week, not just on a particular day, but every day. If you suffocate the enemy, they will die. That's how it works. So, Goods Unite Us.
Goods Unite Us and app that you can download. And again, I will put this information in the email, so you'll have it, have more information. So if you can't read it or didn't get it, that's fine. We'll get you that information.
One last thing. So if you were in the meeting last month, we talked about Assembly District Delegate election. It's finally have a location next Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in Pleasanton. And
It's for the Democratic Party.
yeah, it's a Democratic Party stuff, so you have to be registered then to vote. But we have Victor still here, Nathan?
I'm just getting rid of something
So that is Victor Costa. We are in Region 6 Democratic. Yeah, and do you want to come and talk? Just a second. So it's not the indivisible business, okay?
It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So hi everyone, my name is Victor Costa. I am the Region 6 Director for the California Democratic Party. So the state's split up into 22 regions and it's based by assembly districts. So we have 80 right here in California, and so they split it into different regions. Our region covers assembly districts 9, 13, 16, and 22. Geographically, basically it's South Sacramento County all the way down to North Merced County. And then we also have Alameda and Contra Costas County. So that's our region. It's a big region. It's not the biggest, but it's up there. So the reason why I'm here is to talk to you about an upcoming event that's happening called the ADEM elections. ADEM stand for Assembly District Election Meetings. So there's 3 ways for folks to participate in the Democratic Party at the state level as delegates, right? And these delegates, they get to decide, the party's platform, they get to decide what resolutions we pass, they're the ones who get to vote on our leadership, on who runs the party for their 4-year terms, all kinds of stuff, right? And so one way to be a delegate is through these ADEMs, and they host these every 2 years. So on every odd year election, we have our own little caucus-style election where we elect 14 delegates from each of the assembly districts. So y'all have an opportunity to elect 14 individuals for Assembly District 16. If any of you live in any other assembly districts, you can also vote in that way. And so next Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., we will be having the vote center for Assembly District 16 at the Plasterers and Cement Masons local union in Pleasanton. You can find all this information at ademelections.com, the website ADEMELECTIONS. You can also go to the condemn.org website to find that out. So if you're a registered Democrat, you can come participate and vote on these folks. And I hear there's actually quite a few people who align with Indivisible who are running, and it would be a good opportunity for you to help support them and get them to represent us at the state level. You also, are there any folks in here who are not registered Democrat? Okay, well here's a secret. Don't tell anyone I said this. You can re-register on site, vote, wait till the election results pass, and then go back to wherever you're registered. If you want to go be an independent, Green Party, whatever the heck you are, it does not matter. You can do that, and that's been the case in the past. There have been, I know when I first ran for ADEM elections back in 2017, I convinced a couple of my friends to re-register as Democrats, and then I was like, fuck it, go back to being independent. So if any of you folks who are not Democrats would like to just do this quick favor to help get some great folks elected to the state party, by all means, go ahead and do that. You can re-register now or until the election, and then once the results are over, do what you want. So just be mindful of that, and then you can vote at any vote center, right? So you can go to the one in Pleasanton. I know there's one in Concord, there's one in Hayward, Berkeley. If you want to come to my neck of the woods in the Central Valley, you can come to Tracy, Lodi, Ceres, etc. Anyone can vote at these. It doesn't have to be within your area. So if you miss the 10 to 2 window and you want to go vote, you can go to a different location, and they'll let you vote, right? It's like a Scantron, you bubble in the 14 names or however many numbers you want to, and then you just turn it in. And then if you folks have any questions or concerns or want to get to know me, you can reach out to me. My phone number is 209-585-6443. And my official email is victor@cademregion6.com. So CADEMREGION, the number 6.com. And all of this is listed on the Cadem website. So if you go to cadem.org and go to our leaders, they have my information there. Feel free to reach out to me anytime. And I will try to do my best to make sure that I come to your meetings and events and build a relationship with y'all, right? Like we, as a Democratic Party, need to be coalescing and coordinating with non-democratic groups that align with our values for our community and make sure that we're helping support each other. And I know, unfortunately, as someone who's been doing this for a decade now, the leadership of the Democratic Party is not necessarily the best. But that requires folks like us to actually get involved, step into these roles, and take back ownership and get the party back to the people, right? So, thank you.
You need volunteers.
Oh, I need volunteers. Oh, yeah. So obviously these elections can't be done by themselves. So we do need volunteers. So if any of you happen to have a couple hours next Saturday to come volunteer at the vote center, that'd be great. It's super simple. Basically, you're just there to make sure people fill out their ballots correctly. You'd be surprised at how many people don't know how to fill in a ballot, or they forget their name, or they forget their PIN code, and then we throw the ballot out. So we're looking for folks to help do 2.5-hour shifts. So you got to do the first half or the second half. We will be sending out a Google form, so if any of you are interested in volunteering, would really appreciate it. And then we will have a convener who will go over the rules just to help you out during the process. So yeah, cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
And is there anything else?
That's it.
So this is a conclusion, but thank you for coming. But from now on, we really would like each of you to sign up because we have the number of the people we can accommodate in. It doesn't matter where they are, right? And we need you to sign up for yourself, by yourself. That's the first part of the activism. And yes?
I just wondered, I came here from Plans of Action, because this wasn't the business for my own Plans of Action. And I'd like to offer, how about next meeting, everybody bring somebody with them under the big.
We have to have a bigger place.
I totally agree with you, but let us just figure out what we are gonna do next. Because if we can actually do the hybrid, what you may wanna do is to have your TV on, put it up, your friends and kids, you just drag everybody in front of it. You mean, you get the idea, right? Watch party. So we can actually have not 100, not 200, maybe 500 people can actually join. That would be fantastic. And I think anything is possible at this point because everybody is ready to fight for our constitution and democracy, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
One other thing, we're getting a bad reputation with our legislators in Washington because these indivisible people will not leave them alone. They can't stand it. So every day, call your senator or your representative every day and tell them to obstruct every piece of legislation that is proposed. Throw sand in the gears, and there are many procedural ways that can be done. They can deny a quorum, they can call a quorum every time there's going to be a vote. All of those things delay everything that the Republicans want to do. So call every day and tell your legislators to get a spine.
Thank you, Joanne. That's a great sentiment for us to wrap it up on today. Oh, we have a final member comment or suggestion.
I just want to ask, when I signed up to come here, does that sign me up as a Livermore Invisible member, or do I need to do that?
Yes, you are on our mailing list
Okay.
and you will get our emails
Thank
from
you.
now on. Yep.
Yeah, just to repeat that, if you sign up to come to this meeting via Mobilize, we have added your email address to our member roster. Thank you for asking that for clarification.
One more thing.
Well, postscript.
Yeah, so if you sign in the seat because you didn't sign up online, I need to be able to read. Right? Because otherwise you're not going to receive the email. So if you didn't sign up online and your handwriting is kind of questionable, see me. Thank you.
Thanks everyone for being here. Go forth and speak loudly.
I have red cards up here.
Okay.